Hello, my name's Laura Hughes.
Hi, I'm Lottie and we're weightlifters
For the Welsh Commonwealth Games team.
And today we're answering reader questions for
The Telegraph recommended.
I have a massage gun, probably not quite as high tech as these ones, but I do like a massage gun. I think it's quite useful to just get that blood moving. I think they're quite portable and easy to use.
Recovery boots are amazing. I've never had any experience with them before, and they just feel like something really nice and relaxing that you could do at the end of your day and like send me to sleep. I think that there's a couple of options. They seem that they can be accessible if you kind of take training seriously. Definitely something that I look at.
I think just a classic foam roller. You can't go wrong with a foam roller. Stretching, you don't need any equipment to get a good stretch, so.
It maybe varies. I tend to find that my legs are more conditioned to like lots of lifting, and like, for example, yesterday I had a lot of overhead work, so my traps and my arms are killing today. So I think maybe it depends. Like, yes, I guess is the answer. Probably generally speaking, we spend a lot of time using our legs, but we're also using our traps and our upper backs a lot, which can fatigue. If we just had like a full body compression suit, that would be amazing.
I think massage gun, foam roller, normal stretching, and set to go.
Probably not so much equipment, but just making sure I recognise my limits and how my body's feeling that day.
I think a lot of it is technique, so you can use any equipment as long as you use that equipment properly. I mean, there's probably things that I wouldn't generally use just because I don't think it would benefit me in my training.
I'm quite conscientious of trying to minimise injury just because I've been in those situations in the past. So just making sure that I'm moving well, I'm preparing my body for training, and then giving myself enough recovery time afterwards as well.
We use weightlifting belts, so once you get to a certain weight, you can use a weightlifting belt if you want. Lots of people don't, and that kind of just helps you in, I guess, realising what a proper brace is.
Straight on my back, strong glutes, strong hamstrings, lots of glute work, yeah, lots of imbalances as well, and making sure that I'm lifting safely.
Bracing is really important, so just proper core and like trunk strength in general. Well, it depends on what muscles you're wanting to build, but I think for general body, I think you can't go wrong with a squat or a deadlift. Probably quite easy to learn and just sort of get that general access to that equipment. But if you're wanting to get bigger arms, and you probably want to do some bicep curls.
It's interesting because I think there's probably not like one or even a couple of exercises. We spend a lot of time doing our main lifts, so snatches, clean and jerks, but lots of pulls and squats. I also spend a lot of time doing accessory work to make sure that my body stays healthy, especially being an older athlete, like 33 now, so don't recover as well. I've got to keep myself feeling healthy and fit. Most importantly is consistency. Do something, do it regularly, even if it's twice a week, 3 times a week, and don't be afraid to try new strength exercises.
Consistency, definitely. I think you're going to have to admit that you're going to be stuck doing some of those boring movements for quite a while before you actually see any improvement, and it's not to doubt yourself when you are like stuck at a weight for a while, because it's like that's just a part of the process. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Get yourself down to a club, get someone to coach you, give it a go. No, it is a great sport. Anyone there will encourage anyone to learn. Like, yeah, absolutely, go for it.
Absolutely not. I think that you can get into strength training at any age, and actually probably quite important as well throughout different stages of life, that you do start strength training, and as long as it's done like safely and sensibly, I don't think there is an age limit. At the moment, it's a lot of carbohydrates, making sure that I'm eating enough protein and like kind of letting the fats take care of themselves.
In general, if you're eating enough protein, got enough carbs, because energy is the most important thing, then that's kind of my go-tos.
I've increased carbohydrates quite a lot over the last 12 weeks, coming into kind of peak preparation. Training's getting harder, like recovery demands are higher, so it's really important that I'm getting enough of the right type of food and the quality of food as well.
Track my protein, that's it, that's my go-to. And then weirdly in training, sweets are the go-to. Like you want that extra carb, you want that boost, that little energy.
On the whole, it's a lot of whole food ingredients, a lot of lean proteins, starchy carbohydrates and healthy fats, and then getting in sugary carbohydrates around training, which is always nice. You know, it feels like a bit of a treat. It's seeing the improvement, seeing how your technique improves through repetition and getting that feedback from the results of training. So hitting PBs is always nice. But I also think it's part of the process as well. The end goal is always something that is on my mind in terms of getting to the Commonwealth Games and then doing as well as I can there. I think without it, my day doesn't feel like it's happened, and it's just such a big part of what I do that it's perhaps less about motivation now, it's just life.
Won't lie, I think it is difficult to stay motivated, but I think looking back to see how far I've come through sport and my career in sport really helps, because I'm like, oh, I've already come this far in this many years. Let's keep going, let's see how far I can go. So just surrounding yourself by the right people and looking how far you have come already, I think are massive, massive ones. Generally just how much we repeat the same movements over and over. Like even in the gym with normal, average gym goers, they're like, wow, your sessions are really long. And I'm like, I know.
I spend a lot of time thinking about what it's going to feel like walking onto the stage and putting myself in situations where I've felt the nerves in the past and how to deal with that. I want to be with as few surprises as possible, so I almost try and visualise that experience and feel the adrenaline and the nerves at the time, and have a strategy for even the thoughts or the prompts that I'm going to have when I experience that.
There is no such thing as perfect. That no matter what you look like, what you weigh, what you lift, you're still gonna either want more or not be happy with something particular. And it's like, there is no such thing as being perfect, as perfect technique, looking perfect, and it's kind of just going with it anyway.
Being able to demonstrate that there is place for all different shapes and sizes, and that when we have different weight categories in weightlifting, that in some ways it can encourage people to think about their bodies more. But actually I think through experience with weightlifting and over time, I've learned that your weight doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of what you look like or your kind of value as a person. And there are so many people that have grown into weight classes, and that's meant that they can lift more and that they can perform better. It's about accepting who you are, your shape, your size, and using that to perform as best as you can. I think for females in the gym as well, we're seeing a shift in more people participating in strength training, and that's amazing to see, but I guess that also has come from representation and seeing other women doing that. So I guess my hope is that more women feel inspired to take up space in the gym, recognise that there's place for everyone and that they deserve to be there.
For more videos like this,
subscribe to Telegraph Recommended.